presenting all the games I played in September. Hello and welcome to Table Scraps. I am your host, Ben Mandelker, and I'm here today to go through all the games I played last month, which was September 2025. I have 12 games that I played. Before we dive into that, please like and subscribe. It really means a lot. I'm not going to prolong it. It just really helps the channel grow. Give it a like, give it a subscribe, leave a comment, share it, whatever, anything helps. Appreciate it a lot. Now, before I get into the countdown, I, of course, want to introduce my guest for today. Please welcome to the stage, We All Take From the River. Welcome, We All Take From the River. How are you doing? It's exciting having you here. Yes, you're doing great. Don't be nervous. You're doing great. We All Take From the River is a small Kickstarter that delivered this year, designed by Ben Hammer, and it's about building up around a river and what that does to the river's ecosystem, which is usually nothing good because it's humans destroying nature. And I appreciate your strange quirkiness. And so thank you for being here. We All Take From the River. Okay. So now let's get into these games. Played a bunch of games, had a lot of fun. Last time I did one of these videos, I just sort of like haphazardly went through the order. And this time I thought, well, why don't I just go from my least favorite play to my most favorite play? And things are most and least, but depending on a lot of different reasons. But let's start off. My number 12 game of the month is kind of a bummer for me. This is a game I've actually been tracking on BGG for like many months, if not like over a year. I was really excited for this one. And my number 12 favorite game of September was Stellar Ventures. Stellar Ventures, designed by Pontus Nilsson, who also has something going on, like I think it's a prototype or is developing 18 Norway, which I've played I think twice right now on 18xx.games, and I love that. That game that's my jam. Stellar Ventures, however, did not quite sing for me, unfortunately. This game kind of is cube railsy, and then has some 18xx elements and some other stuff. And honestly, when I read about the game initially, I was super intrigued / excited. And then I went to my friend's house and we played the prototype. And by the way, let's put a big disclaimer, asterisk, whatever you want to call it, that this was a prototype that I played. The game's not even available. It's still going through development. So I'm not trying to like shit on the game ahead of time, but I will say that this first play just did not really work for me very well. But anyway, I went to my friend's house and we went through the rules and I was like, oh, this is awesome. I love what this is doing here. But I didn't have the most fun time. And that may have been because of my own poor decisions. The game is set up in a way where there's like an initial auction to sort of take over companies, and those are going to be companies you'll mainly be playing with for the rest of the game. And there are 5 companies and there's 5 players, and if someone gets 2 companies in the beginning because of bidding, then someone's not going to have a company to play with initially. And that was me. I was fine with that. I love playing an investor strategy in a financial game like this, like 18xx or something like that. But I found that unlike other games where I've done the investor strategy, and that goes for both cube rails and for 18xx, I didn't feel like I had a huge amount to do while I was waiting. I think in those games, I'm actually watching everyone's moves like a hawk to figure out, ooh, when am I going to get like step out of investor strategy or whatever. It just didn't, I don't know, it just didn't sing for me. It was like a little boring. Hopefully the game will continue to go through some more development. And if not, then it's just not going to be a game for me. And that's okay. But unfortunately, Stellar Ventures, after so much excitement to play it, wasn't quite my jam. Okay, number 11 on my list, I really enjoyed, actually. And this is where it's tough, because if something's ranked second to the bottom of the list, the implication is that like you didn't like it. I actually liked it quite a bit. This game is Kites. My friend Brendan gave me this game, which was so sweet. I've been really excited to play it. It's a real-time game where essentially you've got sand timers and you turn the sand timers over and the sand is running out and you're kind of doing this card play. like the elevator pitch is like if you've got a red sand timer, if you play like a red card, then you have to turn that sand timer over, and you're just trying to keep these sand timers from going out because they're kites, and you want to keep the kites in the air. It's a little bit more involved than that, but essentially it's like a frantic game of turning sand timers over in real time and having to do what cards are telling you to do without failing. And it was super fun. I played a 3-player game. I've only played it once. I played a 3-player game, really enjoyed it. I think the only reason why this game wasn't higher is because I had to imagine a few things, that it would be even more chaotic and silly and wild with like a higher player count than 3. With 3 players, we sort of had a good amount of control. And to that end, the other thing was that my group, we won. It's a cooperative game. And so we won the base intro thing, and then we added something to up the difficulty, and we won again. And so it was cool that we won, but I was sort of hoping it was going to be more of an experience of like, oh my god, like, oh, like we're like screaming at each other, like let's go again, this time we can do it. And actually we won really easily both times, so it was really fun. But I would like more difficulty, and I'm hoping that with more players it gets more difficult, and by adding in other sort of modules, there's like cards you can add into this like deck that you're playing with that makes everything more ridiculous. I'm excited for more difficulty. I'm excited for more plays. Super fun, quick filler game. And thanks again, Brendan, for giving it to me, because I really enjoyed it. Even though it's at number 11, does not equate to unhappiness. Only the last game was unhappiness. Number 10 is Imperium, the Contention. This is designed by Gary Dvoretsky, who you may know his other game that has been making a splash recently, which is Slay the Spire, the board game, not the video game. I don't think the video game. So my friend Candace introduced me to this game. It's like a small 4X game. The board is all card based. You're trying to reach a certain level of points. You're trying to have like a certain number of like areas that you control. There's way more to it than that. There's some simultaneous card play and everything. I have to say, when Candace pulled this game out, she was really excited to play it. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll try it. But I personally was not that excited to play it. I was like, okay, looks all right, but it didn't look like that exciting to me. And actually, I really enjoyed it. It was a very fun game. It was not that long. I think it maybe lasted like 90 minutes. I thought it was great. It actually ended on a king making thing. Candace accidentally sort of king made between me and someone else, but it was fun. Like, the game is like short enough that like if that something like that happens at the end, it's like whatever. Like, it was only 90 minutes. I think sometimes people get like a little too up their own assholes about king making sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. I think like we can all survive the king making moment. It's not the end of the world. I also think that king making is sort of like Survivor, which is like, well, you have to play a great game, but you have to play the social game too. You've got to appeal to the jury. I know that's a hot take, and people probably don't agree with it, and that's fine. You don't have to agree with it, but that's just my feeling, which is also a good way to avoid having really bad emotional experiences in those moments, because one route is to get upset about it, and then your night may actually be ruined and you might get into a fight with someone. Or another way is to shrug and say, well, that was a fun game, and sort of sucked that it ended that way, but on to the next. That was a side note. That was a tangent. The point is that Imperium, the Contention, I enjoyed way more than I thought I would, and it was really fun, and it was a fun 90-minute 4X experience. Harmonies. Whoa, I have never played Harmonies before. Harmonies, which is a game that came out last year, 2024. Big hit, big energy, big hit energy on it. Like, people love this game. I think it was nominated for Spiel des Jahres or Kennerspiel. I never know what qualifies for which one. Like, tic-tac-toe these days gets into Kennerspiel, I'm not gonna lie. But this was like a 1-hour abstracty cool game. Most of you probably have heard of it. There's some drafting. You make a landscape. Here's what I really enjoyed about it. I enjoyed that it was way thinkier than I expected. There were a lot of things to consider. It was a really, really fun puzzle, and I thought it was very clever. And I could definitely see a lot of variability in this game. And, it was cool to like draft these cards and you're trying to do these things. Here's where what wasn't totally for me. And by the way, it speaks to how good I think the design is that I'm actually ranking it above some of these other games. It's not a game for me ultimately because I'm sort of not into these sort of like abstract 45-minute games or even 1 hour games. I have Azul, I have Sagrada. They're both amazing games, but here's why. I call this amongst my friends and also on the Game Brain podcast, the Sagrada effect, which is that Sagrada is this amazing game that lasts for about 45 minutes to an hour. And what happens is I invite people over and I want to play a chunkier game, but everyone likes Sagrada so much they'd say, what about Sagrada? And you're like, okay, so you play it, but then you've used up too much time playing Sagrada that you can't do the chunky game. So then you wind up doing all these sort of like Sagrada Azuls for the night, which are all fun and they're all great. And Azul is obviously like one of the best games of all time, but then you're stuck like, they're kind of like cock blockers. They're like board game cock blockers. They don't mean to be, they're such good games. So for my own self-preservation, I don't buy these games anymore because they always get in the way of the bigger games that I want to play. It drives me nuts. But Harmonies is really good. Number 8 for September. Railways of the Lost Atlas with the Landmarks of the Lost Atlas expansion. I am privileged enough to be in the Landmarks of the Lost Atlas playtesting group. It went on Kickstarter, just wrapped up on Kickstarter. If you haven't played Railways of the Lost Atlas, I love it. I think it's exceptional. It was my number 1 game of 2024, narrowly beating out Shackleton Base. I just love what it does. It's an 18xx game. I'm sorry. It's an 18xx style game because someone on the internet actually bit my head off because I said it was an 18xx game. And they said, no, it's not because it doesn't take place in a historical setting. So to make sure that no one is triggered by me calling it an 18xx game, even though it has all the 18xx stuff, I will say it's 18xx style. Look, you know what? It's like when you go to the freezer section and you want to get some ice cream and then you realize it's an ice cream like product because it doesn't have enough dairy in it. I get it, it just happens sometimes. Okay, but Railways of the Lost Atlas is a fantastic 18xx style game. It's a remix of it in that it has a modular board. So Landmarks of the Lost Atlas, this adds a few new things. One is that there are landmarks, which basically are areas that you can visit on your train routes, and they will give you some sort of perk. There's also an NPC company called the Metro, which if you can invest in it, and if you invest in it, that gives you some more tile lays when you're doing your tile lays. By the way, if none of this makes sense, then please watch my 18xx video about like how to learn 18xx in like 156 seconds. So that way you'll have some context, but don't worry if you don't retain all of it. But the Metro company allows you to have more tile lays and more tokening. And then there's also events and there's some other things. We played with Metro events and the landmarks. I like the landmarks just fine. I don't think they're terribly impactful. I did not really like the events. I thought they were like, it's fun that there's variability from them, but I actually found that they messed up my game in the late game and I did not appreciate that. And then, but the Metro, I love the Metro because it gives players other things to invest in. Because sometimes with landmarks or with Railways of the Lost Atlas, sometimes it feels like there's only a few things to invest in. And once you've invested, you're sort of done. So I love it that it gave another thing to invest in as a player. I also like that it allowed for more tile lays because one thing in the game is that you have these companies that consolidate, and so you just get progressively less tile laying ability throughout the game. So this is a way to affect things. And tokening, you wind up usually with a pretty big board that winds up pretty open for a large part of the game. And so it's great that there's this company that can start like tokening on the cities and making things tighter. TLDR, I really like the game. Our session went incredibly long, too long, and so because of that, normally this game would rank much higher in a monthly play. But so we're gonna drop that one down to, what is that, number 8, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Yes, 8. I did say 8, right? Yeah. Number 7 is Yunnan. This game is super cool. My friend Tim has been obsessed with it. He finally got a copy. It's a Spielworks game, you can tell, because the art is very dreary. However, this is the rare Spielworks game where the dreariness is, I really actually like the art a lot. The muted color palette that Spielworks games are known for kind of works in its favor. It matches the decor. This is a game that feels like an old game. It is an old game, but it feels that way in a way that I really like. There's a whole bunch of different auctions that you are engaging in, and every auction matters like crazy. You need everything to help you power across this board. You're essentially selling tea across the land, across China. There's more to it than that. I thought this game was great. I really liked it. I think Tim found a great one here. It's a real gem. I didn't rank it higher because there were a few feel bad moments in there that were like you sort of had to like mentally say, okay, whatever, find the humor in this. And also I like crashed out in terms of like I was doing badly with the auctions and I was in a downward spiral that I just could not get out of. So it was sort of like, ugh, but I actually really loved the game. I think if there had been maybe just like a shade fewer feel bad moments, like I had things that just got sent back to the start. And it's a game where you're trying to forge forward. It happened to me like 3 times in a row. Then I think I would rank it a bit higher, but it left ever so slightly a taste in my mouth of like, this is ever so slightly unpleasant. But by and large, I thought it was great. And I'm excited to play Yunnan some more because I'm sure with further plays, you would start to not fall into those pitfalls that I fell into, and I'm sure the experience would get better and better. Oranges and lemons. I mean, how many times do I have to talk about this game on this channel? Had another session of it. It was awesome. I tried some different things. I failed spectacularly. It was great. I love oranges and lemons. I won't belabor it. Let's move on. My number 5 game of September is Fromage. So Fromage, I had only played once, 3 players, and I liked it. It was like a very breezy 35-minute game. I liked it. It was maybe slightly too light for me, but I still enjoyed it. I played it again with 2 other friends. So another 3-player game. I was really hoping to get a 4-player game, but that did not happen. I liked it more. I liked it more the second time. It's not that it really became heavier, but I felt like the first time around we were playing a little bit more casually, but the second time around I felt like there was a bit more deep thought put into it. People were playing very strategically, and when one person plays strategically, then we all sort of like raise our games. We're like, well, what are they thinking? Well, maybe I should consider this. Maybe I should consider that. And actually, I really appreciated that for this game because it's a cool game. It's a cool gimmick of like a board that spins and you all take simultaneous actions. But I like that there were like fun decisions to be made outside of the gimmick of a spinning board and simultaneous actions. Plus, I love any excuse to have cheese, and this game makes you want to pull out the cheese. And luckily, I happen to have 3 nice wedges of cheese. So we had cheese, we played the game, had a great time. I'm not sure about the legs necessarily for this game, but I have committed to the expansion, and we're going to see if the expansion gives it legs, or is it just going to be just more fromage. So it's a little on the bubble for me, but I had a really, really fun time playing it. Obviously I did, because look how highly I ranked it. I really enjoyed this one a lot. So yeah, real fun times with Fromage. Number 4 game of the month of September is Cargo Empire, which continues to delight me. This was my second play of it. The first play I mentioned on the last video I did of this. This time I played with 4 players as opposed to 3, and really it was a fascinating experience. I got shellacked, and that's okay. It's just a clever game. It's really a game about timing, and I really enjoyed it a lot. I really enjoyed it at 4 players. It felt tight. I have the expansion that takes up to 5 players, and I wonder if with 5 players, does it actually just teeter over into chaotic? Don't know, but at 4 players, really enjoyed Cargo Empire. It is, to me, revealing layers that I suspected were there, so I'm really happy to see that. It's a totally under the radar game, and I'm really happy with it so far. My number 3 game of the month. Okay, small one. Here's a real small one. It's been around for a few years. It was my first time playing it, and that game is Spicy. Spicy is a card game. Actually, it's a bluffing game where you're just basically playing cards face down and declaring what it is. And your other opponents have to guess whether or not you're being true about what you're playing. That's really it. Obviously, there's a few more wrinkles, but that's it. I could not explain how much fun I had with this. I heard it was a fun game, and when I read the rule set, I was like, how is this going to be like that fun? It seems like neat, but is it really that fun? But then again, if you've ever played Coup, if you ever played Cockroach Poker, it's like really in this vein. And I loved Spicy. I am going to be bringing Spicy around. It's going to live in my game bag because I want it to be available at all times. It was so funny, so many laughs, so much table talk. I love a game that can do that. And my favorite part is like when you put down a card and you declare, this is the 7 of pepper, let's say, because that is a suit. And someone does not believe you and they can challenge you, but they're not sure. So they sort of put their hand out and the hand sort of stays like this. And like, you're waiting for the hand to go boop, boop. You're like, are you going to do it? Are you going to do it? And then finally they go, okay, boop. And it's just hilarious. It's just even that tension. There's so much I really enjoy about the game. And it's easy and quick and you can play it with anyone. So that's an instant buy for anyone who's looking for a fun little card game. But Spicy, loved it so much. I can't wait to play it again. I'm really excited about my number 2 game of the month. This is a game that has been on my mind for many years. Like, I think we are literally in our 4th US presidency since this game first landed on my radar. That game is Barcelona, The Rose of Fire. Now, this game is designed by Marco Maggi, and Francesco Nepatello. So if you may recognize those names because they also designed the game War of the Ring, and Dune, War for Arrakis. Those are 2 really big games, especially War of the Ring. That's like a top 10 BGG game. That is a hallowed game. And these 2 designers have designed major sprawling epics that are like known through geekdom. And then they also made this city builder. That's what this is. Barcelona, The Rose of Fire. Not to be confused with Barcelona by Danny Garcia. This is Barcelona, The Rose of Fire. It's a city builder and it does something really interesting. This is a historical game. It's set sort of in the years leading up to the Spanish Civil War. So early 20th century, maybe even late 19th century. I don't remember the exact dates. You are faced with a moral quandary when you build. You have an opportunity to build on this map, and you can build a mansion for wealthy people, and that'll get you victory points, and that's what you need to win. You need the victory points. Or you could build like slums or middle-class buildings, and those won't get you as many points. But the thing is that every time you build a fancy building, the people get upset because there's strife. There's social change afoot in Spain, as there was at that time. So like you make the people happy when you build, low income housing. You make them mad when you build the nice houses, but you get points from the nice houses and not so much for the other ones. And essentially what this means is that your meeples might wind up in jail. There are soldiers that will come out. There's protests. Your meeples protest. Soldiers come out. They quash the protests. Your meeples go to jail. And by the way, if things get too out of control, the entire game tips into anarchy. And when that happens, scoring is inverted. And now every low income house you've made is now worth a lot of victory points. And every mansion you made is worth basically nothing. And I love that. I love the idea of build a city builder. I love city builders anyway, but a city builder that doesn't just want you to like make a nice city or make a cool city and earn points. Like, oh, I put this one out, I get some points. This one is actually like having you grapple with thematically who is living in these houses that you're building? Who's living in these buildings? How does one balance the need to cater to your wealthy clientele, but also, like maintain peace and equity with the people, I really liked it a lot. When this game came out, I don't think it really made a splash because it had some weird rules, and also feel bad moments because like I said, your meeples can go to jail. That's with a bag pull. And when your meeples go to jail, like it sort of sucks if like someone else has more meeples in the bag, but yours is the one that gets pulled and then you get penalized. And then on top of that, you sort of get this card that's like lose a turn essentially. And that doesn't feel good either. And it feels like you go in this downward spiral. I will say that 3 out of the 4 of us at the table got hit with that lose a turn card over the course of the game. And every time you get hit with it, you feel like your game has been like torpedoed, like it's over. You're like, damn it. Well, I guess I'm out of it. But all our scores were like neck and neck at the end, which was really cool because I think it was after one play, it seemed like it was balanced in that way. And so I really appreciated that. I really loved this game. At first I was like, okay, this is all right. But by the end, it just became more and more fascinating as you played it. And by the end, I was like, you know what? I actually really like this a lot. And I think it was worth the wait. I'm really happy with this one. I want to play more of it. I want to see what it has to offer. And now my number 1 favorite game that I played, or I should say it's favorite session. It's not so much favorite game. It's like this favorite session that I had. And I am going to go with Tales of Arthurian Knights. Here is the backstory. Tales of Arthurian Knights is an update of a beloved game called Tales of Arabian Nights, which is essentially choose your own adventure that is set with the setting of kind of like 1001 Nights, Tales of Scheherazade, etc. This one is now we've moved it into Arthurian Knights, Knights of the Round Table, King Arthur, yada yada yada. I first played Arabian Nights about 10 or 11 years ago. I learned it at a game cafe with some friends. We learned the rules while we're sitting there reading it out of the book, which was like, you should never do that anyway. Like, don't learn rules at the table. It's terrible. It does not work. And it usually will ruin a game. Like don't do it. And especially don't do it for a game like this. That's like narrative driven. That's what we did. We had a bad experience. We were like, what's the deal with this game? I was like, oh, that's too bad. It always stayed with me. I always thought, what if we had just known the rules before we started playing Tales of Arabian Nights? Would we have had a better time? But I was like, I guess we'll never know. Interesting thought experiment. But then this one came out. Tales of Arthurian Nights came out. And what I'd heard about it was that these 2 designers who were behind it basically spent 15 years tinkering with the formula of Tales of Arabian Nights, modernizing it and making it better and richer. And essentially all the game is like you just sort of like move some your figure across the map. You get to a location, you draw an encounter card and you see what you encounter. It might be like a giant or maybe it's a storm. Whatever it is, you look up in a book and someone else at the table reads from the book passage like 1135 and they say like such and such happens. And then they said, do you want to attack the thing? Do you want to run away? Do you want to reason with it? Things like that. Anyway, you just go down this web of storytelling. It's just a storytelling game, but it was so fun. There was so much laughter. My group had a great time. And also what was nice about it was that I was at Gigi T's, which is a store in Burbank, California. And I was looking at it and I was telling my friend Trey, I said, this game is supposed to be a great, revision of Tales of Arabian Nights, but I don't know if it's worth $80. I mean, that's a lot of money to spend. I don't know if anyone would even want to play with it. And Trey said, well, I'll pay for half of it. And then my friend Matt said, and I'll pay for the sleeves. And we're like, we're going to do this. So we just bought it spontaneously. And so what was cool is when we were playing it, it kind of felt like we were playing with our baby. We had put in the time and the effort and we came and we played it. And I loved that. I loved that it was like this joint board game between the 3 of us. But by the way, word to the wise, the sleeves that are listed on BGG for this game are incorrect because Matt bought sleeves and they didn't fit the cards. So just a warning for people. Right? We all take from the river. I feel like it was right. Yeah, it was a good warning. Anyway, Tales of Arthurian Nights, so much fun, so much laughter. I can't wait to play it again. I'm playing it again in like 2 days, and I am psyched. That is it for September. Thank you all for being here and listening. Please leave a comment down below and tell me what you played and what you liked and what you enjoyed. And I can't wait to read all about it. See you on the next Table Scraps.